The episode starts and we see that a crowd of cult members are preparing to throw an innocent boy named Yukito into the river. Yukito's father is the head and leader of this cult dedicated to the god Mitama. Because of the exposition of his father, Yukito has faced many problems in his life. Yukito is standing there watching every member preparing to throw him in the river, thinking that it is his last day alive. The cult is drowning Yukito, hoping that he will be reborn as their next leader. Yukito's father then explains to everyone in the crowd that Yukito has to drown for 3 days in the water, and then he will have to sort his way to getting out of the water all by himself. And if he succeeded in it, he would be announced as the new leader of the cult. Yukito tries to argue that this is murder, but his dad does not listen to him and tells him it's not a murder, it's a ritual. Then he praises their god Matima and orders to throw Yukito into the river. Yukito's dad tells him not to be scared and that the god Matima will save him. Then they throw Yukito into the river, and as he is drowning, he starts to get the flashback of his life. Inside the river, disappointed by all the rituals, he challenges Matima to reincarnate him into a world where no god exists, no rituals, and where he can make some friends and live a normal life. Yukito earnestly wishes to be reborn in a world without religion. Yukito thinks that it's not possible. He smiles and then passes out. When he gains consciousness, he is lying down near a lake and a girl is performing CPR on him in not so usual way. He gets angry with that girl and she thinks she made a mistake. She asks for his forgiveness and tells him that she will take care of him until he gets well. She tells Yukito that she owns a restaurant and he can live there and get food as long as he wants. She then introduces herself to Yukito. Her name is Allura. Yukito then asks her if she has any idea about the cult of Matima. She tells him that such a cult does not exist. Yukito then understands that he is reincarnated into a new world. Allura takes Yukito with her and he also meets her sister Siluril. They ask him to work on the farm and he gets bored by it. A boy named Roy comes toward him and asks him if Allura has saved his life and tells him to stay away from the girls. Another boy, whose name is Clen, comes there and hits Roy. He gives Yukito a knife and asks him to cut berries from the trees. Clen and Roy are farmers. Yukito thinks that they are testing him. That's why they are not giving him a real duty, so he works hard and cuts a lot of berries. Roy sees this and gets impressed and tells Yukito that they don't have enough space to store that many berries. They take these berries, store some of them, and make drinks of the rest. With that, they drink and enjoy the whole night. The next day, Yukito and Roy see a monster in the fields. Roy takes out a book and starts reading. Yukito thinks that he is doing some kind of magic, but Roy then asks Yukito to run. They run into a building, saving their lives. Roy asks Yukito to beat Roy in a drinking competition. Allura then asks Yukito to stay with them because everyone is so happy after his arrival. Yukito says that I thank God that I am here. Allura asks him what is God because there is no concept of God in this world. The next day, Yukito finds a dead animal in the forest and he wants to bury it. Allura and Roy come there and think that Yukito has hunted that animal. They praise him. Roy then tells Yukito about a forbidden book that is so dangerous that nobody even talks about it. Yukito gets curious and asks Roy to tell him more about that book. Roy tells him that it is an adult magazine. Hearing this, Yukito tells Roy what rubbish is this. After a few weeks, Roy, Yukito, and Allura go to the Imperial City, so Allura and Roy can obtain those magazines. Roy asks Yukito to not talk with anybody in the city. Then they go to the library and read the magazine. Roy and Allura get very excited and Yukito tells them in his world it is normal to do the stuff that is written in this book. Allura tells him it is banned in this world. After some time, Yukito witnesses a public mass suicide. He sees some people drinking poison and committing suicide and asks Roy about them. Roy tells him that it was the government's order. Yukito learns without religion there is no fear of death. So when the government decides citizens are no longer of use or social deviants, they proudly commit suicide. Yukito asks Roy if he will also end his life like them. Roy tells him he is not like them. After that, in the night, Allura gets into Yukito's bed and does some weird stuff with him. Yukito asks her to stop, then she says sorry to him and shows him a mark on her back and tells him that only outcasts in this country have this mark and they will end up in the isolation center. Allura and the villagers are all deviants who refuse suicide due to fear of death. Allura was declared deviant due to her lustful personality. The next day, the soldiers come there and take everyone with them, including Allura and Siluro. Roy then tells Yukito about the soldiers, and Yukito learns outcasts can be executed at any time. He goes to save them and fights with the soldiers. Siluro has already been hanged, and while attempting to rescue Allura, both she and Yukito are killed. Dying again, Yukito prays to Mitama, who manifests as a young girl, having been impatiently waiting for him to summon her as the next cult leader. Mitama murders the government soldiers and resurrects Yukito and Allura. Excited to be the only god of a brand new world, and the episode ends here. And that's all for today, guys. Stay tuned to get more new videos. Stay safe and keep watching.